How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today I need to give you an update to a story I covered back in August of 2016. Very unfortunate case with a young lady by the name of Korryn Gaines being at the center of it. I will post a link for that video I did back then in the description box below, so you're able to check out that whole situation in full. Now, I'm going to give you a summary of what happened back then before we get into the article here, but you see the headline right over my shoulder. It says jury awards more than $37 million to family of Korryn Gaines in civil case against Baltimore County. This is, I think, the highest payout to a victim of air quotes police brutality, even though this case right here was not police brutality. We'll get into that in a minute. But before we get into all the details of what's happening now, like I said, I'm going to give you a summary of what happened back then. Now, it was a routine traffic stop. It may have been in 2016 or 2015. I'm not quite exactly sure when the traffic stop happened, but she recorded it, uploaded it to her Instagram, I think maybe even Facebook page as well. She was trying to pull the whole sovereign citizen thing. She did not have a valid license plate on her vehicle, and she was in Baltimore. So in Maryland, maybe I don't think any other state will allow you to just drive around with no real license plate. She had like a piece of cardboard with some stuff written on it, some sovereign citizen stuff. And again, you can't do that anywhere in the USA. So she gets pulled over for that. When she gets pulled over, she wants to be combative. She's not giving a license. She's not doing the basic things you need to do when you get pulled over. And the officers in the case were so nice. They were so nice. The guy was like, hey, I don't have to arrest you. Just give me your license and it won't even really be a big deal. And we'll let you go home. But she was just really trying to fight the situation unnecessarily. So caught up in the whole sovereign citizen mindset. These are my rights, is that, and the third, that she couldn't really see the forest for the trees. Okay. And even her son, who we'll get to in a little while here, was in the back seat, I think in the car seat. Even he said that the officer was just being nice. So even the little boy understood what was going on. The officer was being cool. The mother was just being combative unnecessarily. So she eventually does give her driver's license, but she does not have an actual plate still. The vehicle was uninsured, unregistered. So they had to tow the car, whatever. Now, they give her a summons to appear in court. They give her a citation, but she fails to appear. So fast forward to August 2016, the police are coming to her door to serve two warrants. One for failure to appear for the traffic stop. Another one because she filed a domestic violence claim against her boyfriend, who was also living there. They had two children in the house, but as far as I know, and if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below. The boy who was in the car, who was talking, saying that the guy was being nice, the officer was being nice, that was her son from a previous relationship. And the infant they had was between the two of them, the boyfriend and her. When the police come, it becomes a standoff from like 9 o'clock in the morning to 4 p.m. in the afternoon. The boyfriend was there with the two kids. He takes his child and leaves. So he gets taken into custody with no problem by the police. You know, it's no big deal. She still wants to be there with her son. I presume, I don't really know, but if it's me thinking, I'm thinking, okay, he wants to get everybody out of there and he takes his daughter because he's able to do that because it's his child, but maybe she did not allow him to take her son because that's not his son. Or maybe he didn't want to take the son. Whatever the case may be, the boyfriend got out, no problem. He didn't get hurt. So she has a shotgun and she's pointing it at the police. After an extended period of time of negotiation, the police fire a warning shot to get her to disarm. After the warning shot, she fires back with multiple rounds and they fire back and hit her. She dies at the scene. The boy, thank goodness, was not killed, but he was injured. I don't know if the boy got shot or if he got hit with some shrapnel. She has him basically as a human shield. There were certain points in time where, and by the way, this whole thing is being live streamed on Facebook, Instagram, if I'm not mistaken. People were egging her on, talking about, you know, fight the police, don't give in, all this, that, and the third. It was really a big crazy mess back then. But here we are today, after all the smoke is clear, after She's been buried. After the son is taken wherever he's going to be taken, maybe in the custody of the grandmother, who I assume is right here. After all the situation has been happening, now you have the lawsuit paying the biggest amount to any family of a police involved shooting ever in the history of the United States, not just in Maryland, not just in Baltimore, but in the whole USA, maybe even the world. And before we get into the article, you see the lawyer on the far left of the screen. I can't really point to it over there because this is where my green screen ends, but you see the guy over there with the Colin Kaepernick jersey on. That's the lawyer. Okay, so that pretty much tells you all you need to know right there about who we're dealing with and what's going on. But let's get into the article to see exactly why she got all this money. And the article reads, a Baltimore County jury on Friday awarded more than $37 million in damages in a civil lawsuit brought by the family of Korryn Gaines, the 23-year-old Randallstown woman who was shot and killed by county police after a 6-hour standoff in 2016. Like I said, the jury of 6 women said, all 6 women? Wow. Okay, interesting. The jury of 6 women said the first shot fired by Corporal Royce Ruby at Gaines, killing her and injuring her then 5-year-old son Kodi, was not reasonable and therefore violated her civil rights under state and federal statutes. Well, as far as I know, the first shot, that was like a warning shot, and then she fired afterwards, and then they fired back. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I knew back then. But anyway, the jury awarded more than $32 million in Kodi to damages and $4.5 million for his sister Karsyn. Now, the sister, that's a little infant that the boyfriend was able to remove. I don't know why the sister got any money at all because she was not even involved with the situation when everything went down. Gaines' father and mother were awarded $300,000 and $307,000 respectively, and the Gaines estate was awarded another $300,000. No punitive damages were awarded. Now, about the estate, I guess that's like her debt and whatever, anything that she had behind, and maybe a school fund for the children, but they got plenty of money, the children that is. What they say, they got $32 million to Kodi. That's a little boy, so obviously that's not gonna go to him. You know, a little boy can't spend $32 million or any kind of money like that at all. That'll go to whoever is the guardian, and the same thing for his sister, probably to the grandparents. Maryland has a cap on local government's liability in certain cases, however, and some legal experts speculated Gaines' relatives might not see the full amount of the jury award. The jury took less than 3 hours to reach its verdict against Ruby and the Baltimore County government. There were gasps in the courtroom when the jury forewoman read the decision, and Gaines' family members were in tears following the announcement. And I guess that's them right there in the top left-hand corner in the photo. The case garnered national attention, with some activists citing it as an example of excessive police force against people of color. Kenneth Ravenel, the attorney of Kodi's father, Corey Cunningham, said they were blessed that the jury quickly and swiftly returned a justified verdict on behalf of a child who was victimized by Officer Royce Ruby. Victimized how? The mother victimized the child. If you saw the footage that I uploaded, it was crazy. When they were in the car during the traffic stop, because all of this is recorded, you can see it. Like I said, the video's in the box, but all of it's recorded, you can see it. The little boy was saying that the officer was being nice when they got pulled over. And then she turns back and tells him, you fight them, this, that, and the third. So really, she was abusing the boy.
They tell you get out this car or take your seatbelt off. You do not get out this car. Do you understand? Yes. You better fight they asses. Fight them. Do you hear me?
Yes. And then the whole standoff situation was not necessary. All they were trying to do was just serve her some papers, or trying to come arrest her. But she is resisting with arms. Like the whole story about police brutality, excessive force or whatever, they say, the person was unarmed. They had their hands up when they got shot. This person, Korryn Gaines, was given every chance in the world to lay down her weapon. And of course, she was armed. Like I said, given every chance in the world. The police were extra nice. They were really accommodating above and beyond the call of duty. And the really sad part about this whole situation is that I saw another article somewhere. It may have also been on Baltimore Sun, where I'm reading this article right now, where they say that police officers may be liable in civil cases where money has to be dispensed. So maybe their paychecks should be docked, even if the lawsuit is frivolous, like it is right here, because there was no way you could tell me by looking at the video that I saw that the police were in the wrong. It was a standoff. They were sitting there for hours and hours and hours. They were trying to protect her. They were trying to protect the children. And the good-hearted nature of the police started at the actual traffic stop. And it didn't end there. So this whole thing does not make any sense to me, but I'm going to keep going. This is a great day. This is a great statement on behalf of many who have been victimized by police officers. Too many in our community, Ravenel said. Cunningham and the financial award will help Kodi, now 6, quote, get the help that he needs, unquote. I'm not sure what kind of help he needs. As far as I know, he was not permanently injured. He was just maybe like grazed by a bullet or grazed by shrapnel. I don't think he was even shot. Maybe he was, but at the end of the day, he's okay. I'm very happy that the jury came back and saw and realized what was going on in that courtroom wasn't right, and what happened on August 1st wasn't right, he said. Gaines' mother, Rhanda Dormeus, spoke to reporters through tears outside the courthouse. Quote, this is a win for all my sisters in the movement who have lost their children to violence, she said. Some of them have never received justice, either criminally or civil. I just want to tell them that this win is for them. Family attorney J. Wendell Gordon donned a Colin Kaepernick jersey before speaking to reporters. Now, here's my thing. Okay, I understand you want to be SJW, you want to be an attorney that is seeking justice, but is that professional to wear a football jersey of Colin Kaepernick in the courtroom when you're trying to, like, what are you doing? Are you trying to send a message like you just down with the cause? Are you trying to promote yourself? Is this marketing that we're seeing? What's really going on with that? That's just really distasteful in my humble opinion, but I digress. He said he was filled with pride that the jury made a decision to make the family whole. Royce Ruby was nobody's hero. He wasn't a hero to his comrades or fellow officers. He wasn't a hero to the community. He was a coward, Gordon said. Now, who was a coward? The person that is trying to get this mother to lay down their weapon so her child and her children and the other man inside the house are going to be safe. How about the boyfriend who left? Let's not forget that now. Matter of fact, that was a fiance. So you about to get married to this woman. You just leave her in a police standoff. You're not right there by her side. And you take your daughter, but you don't take her son out of the dangerous environment. And what about Korryn Gaines herself using her child, her boy, the 5-year-old, as basically a human shield? What about her? And what about her in general, just not wanting to go to court? I mean, she could have easily just avoided all this. She probably wouldn't even got a ticket if she was just nice. Because sometimes I've been in situations where I ain't had no tags, registration expired or whatever. If you're just cool to the police and don't give them no problems, a lot of times they give you a warning, they let you go. It's not really a big deal. People try to make these things bigger than what they are. They literally make a mountain out of a molehill. And I don't even really blame her all the way. I blame a lot of people she was listening to, a lot of these sovereign citizen, pro-black, all these people that think they know everything, that they know the laws of the land, they could just do whatever they want to do. It never ends well. I see video after video after video of people getting their windows busted, drug out of their car, arrested when they try to pull the whole sovereign citizen game. It just doesn't work. So people need to stop pushing that whole narrative because you're ruining lives. Korryn Gaines is just one of many that have had their lives changed in an unpleasant way or just changed permanently for the worse, which is what happened here. Baltimore County government attorney Mike Field issued a statement saying the county is, quote, disappointed, unquote, with the verdict and is, quote, reviewing all of its options, including an appeal. Hopefully they do appeal and the appeal comes back the right way, that this money does not get paid out, because it's crazy. There was nothing that the police did wrong. Now, there have been issues. There have been examples of true police brutality, true police misconduct, like what happened with my man in South Carolina, where he planted the taser and stuff like that, even though that could have been avoided as well by the guy if he doesn't get out of his car and run away when he was just put over for a basic traffic stop. That could have been avoided, but the way it played out was wrong on the officer's part. I'm not disputing that, but in this case, the officers did everything right. I mean, they couldn't have done anything else. Now, here's another situation that could have happened. If the officers don't act and do what they did, then what about the little boy? The little boy could have been killed by the mother. Obviously, the mother wasn't right. Even some of the family spoke out right during the situation and said that the mother had mental issues.
Family members say they tried to help.
We should have taken more time with this, took a different approach, and used every tool available, which is us. Use us. We can get through to her.
They were saying, well, we could have been there to help her. They could have used us to go in and help with her situation, help with her mental state. So they knew she had issues. It wasn't even a secret. So now the police, who are doing their jobs to the best of their ability, doing it by the book, are being blamed for someone else's mental problems. It does not make any sense. Quote, a mother died, a child was unintentionally injured, and police officers were placed in mortal danger. By any account, this was a tragic situation, Field said in the statement. Exactly. Through a spokesman, Baltimore County Executive Kevin Gaines declined to comment. Gaines, a Democrat, is running for governor. Representative of Baltimore County Fraternal Order of Police Lodge Number 4 said the union had no comment on the verdict. Police Chief Terry Sheridan, who was not with the police department at the time Gaines was killed, also declined to comment through a spokesperson. Police Department spokesperson Corporal Sean Vincent did not comment directly on the verdict, but said, we would reiterate that the state's attorney office reviewed the situation and deemed the shooting justified. Okay, so if the state's attorney reviewed it and it was all good, it was verified, the officers didn't go to jail, there was no disciplinary action taken against the officer, then what are we doing? What's the point of the money? I think that once you appeal it, those facts will be brought up and the appeal will go the right way. County Council Chairwoman Julian Jones, a Woodstock Democrat, said the case should prompt review of police department policies. Jones' district includes Randallstown, which is where the young lady was at, unfortunately, when the situation happened. I just think we should really review our policies, not just Baltimore County Police, but all police, in terms of when necessary to shoot and is there an alternative to shooting, Jones said. Well, if the person is armed and they're pointing a gun at you and I got a child in there, what are you going to do? If they're not coming out peacefully, if negotiation has been lasting for hours and it failed, what are you going to do? Wait to get shot and then be like, okay, now it's okay to shoot? It doesn't make any sense. He also expressed concern over the cost of the case to taxpayers at a time when county leaders are arguing over whether we can afford a school or can't afford a school. And the case shouldn't even be here. The case should have been thrown out. So the cost of the case would be negated if it wasn't here to begin with. While Gaines' family and attorneys expressed relief, the jury agreed with them and found the shooting was wrong. Some said they were frustrated Ruby is still on the police force. Ruby was promoted last year from the rank of officer to corporal. Well, he didn't do anything wrong. He did everything by the book. So what you want to happen? You want him to get fired just for no reason? And then, of course, they say he should be going to jail for what he did. And that comes from Gaines' fiance, Korryn Courtney, outside the courthouse as he held daughter Karsyn on his hip. So I am right that the daughter, the baby that they had was his daughter, because earlier in the article, they named somebody else as a father of the boy. So I was right about that. There's a picture of the young lady right here, right over my left hand shoulder. And underneath that, it says, in closing arguments, lawyers for Korryn Gaines' family asked $42 million in Baltimore County police shooting. Unreal. And back to what her ex-fiance, let's use proper words here because that's obviously not her fiance anymore since she's passed on. He said taxpayers will likely pay the damage awards related to Ruby's actions, not Ruby himself. Quote, he's not going to pay. He's going to go home to his family. My family has been destroyed. My daughter's not going to know her mother, Courtney said. Courtney had been in the apartment with Gaines on August 1st, 2016. Like I said, he left with Karsyn after police arrived while Gaines stayed inside with Kodi. So what I tell you right there, he knew what was going on. So how is he going to come out now and say, well, you know, what they did was wrong, all this and that? You knew the right thing to do. You got out of Dodge. You took your daughter, not her son. You took your daughter, not her, and you left with the police. You took it into custody. You didn't get shot. You didn't get tased. You didn't get injured. They came to the door. You came out, and that was it. And on top of that, like I said earlier, part of the reason they were there is because she called the police. So how are you going to call the police, file a complaint against him for domestic violence, and then when they come, engage in a standoff? It's like a setup. It's like suicide by cop almost. The testimony and legal arguments in the trial center on the events that led to Ruby's shots at Korryn that day. The defense team representing the county and Ruby tried to show the officer reasonably feared he or others could have been injured or killed by Gaines. I mean, if somebody got a shotgun and they're pointing it at you and then they're not trying to come out, it's pretty reasonable to think that maybe she's going to use it and hurt you and others, maybe herself, maybe the boy that was in there with her. That's the main thing that I would be concerned about if I was an officer. Aside from my safety personally, my family got to go home to, and my fellow officers, I'm more worried about that little boy in there because he has no ability to protect himself. He's at the total mercy of the situation. He cannot get a gun, and I mean, he's just really totally helpless. Gaines' family lawyers focus on inconsistencies in officer statements, including the positioning of various officers and whether they had adequate cover when standing outside the apartment. The lawyer suggested the officers changed their stories to make it look like they were in more danger than they really were. A sequence of events began at about 9 p.m. when two officers went to the apartment to serve arrest warrants to Gaines for not appearing in court on a traffic case and on Courtney for an alleged assault. Like I said earlier, that was a boyfriend. She said that he hit her and then she filed a complaint. Like I said, after no one opened the door, the first officers unlocked it with a key from the apartment complex and later kicked it in to break the security chain. The first officer who went into the apartment, Officer Alan Griffin III, testified he saw Gaines holding a shotgun and immediately knew the situation was unsafe. The barrel was pointed right dead at my chest and my face, Griffin told jurors. He testified he yelled to his partner, "Gun, gun, gun," and backed out of the apartment. Griffin and other officers took positions outside the door. Griffin's partner, Corporal John Dowell, testified that Gaines said she thought the warrant was fraudulent and ordered officers not to come inside. How was the warrant fraudulent when she filed it? Gaines had a distrust of police, and her family's lawyers acknowledged she had mental illness that caused her to possibly be detached from reality. So even her own family says, hey, she has problems. So let me get this straight. The family gets paid after they say that she has problems. After on videotape, you see her holding the gun at the officers. After other tape of the traffic stop that prompted this whole situation shows how nice the officers are being. After on the tape, you see her little boy talking about how nice the officers are being. After she files a complaint against her boyfriend for beating her up. The rest of this right here is pretty much what I already have said. I'm just going to go to the top and finish it up from there. This is really an unfortunate situation. $37 million. Hopefully there is an appeal here and that money does not get dispensed because it really just shows a bad precedent. Like I said, all of this could have been totally avoided. It was really all her fault. And not just her, but those that were around her that filled her head with poisonous garbage, maybe even her father. You haven't seen him. You know, you see her mother right there, if I'm not mistaken, but you don't see her father. Now, I've seen him. I did the video, like I said, last year, right when this happened, and there was a picture of him. It appeared as if he was like a member of Prislam. That's that prison Islam. He was not in the penitentiary, but you could tell by his attire what was going on. So there's a lot of people to blame here in this situation, mainly Korryn Gaines and also those that were on the internet, those that were around her, filling her head with poisonous garbage. But the person you can't blame, the people that you can't blame here are the police. They did everything they possibly could have done to have the situation not end in tragedy like it unfortunately did. So hopefully this does not stand as it is right now. So what do you think? Do you think that the jury decision was just? $37 million to her family for events that she caused? Do you think that she didn't cause the events? Do you think that in the traffic stop, she was totally within her rights to say, I'm not giving you my identification? Was she totally in her rights to not have a tag? And then some say, well, she got killed for a traffic stop. No, she didn't. During a traffic stop, the police were so nice. They were trying to help her. They were trying to just be calm. I mean, the officer was even kind of like joking with her, just trying to like de-escalate the situation. Everybody says, you know, what about de-escalation, this, that, and the third. The officer was doing that in the video, but yet it was not enough. Even the little boy, even her son said he was trying to be nice, but it still wasn't enough for her. She had problems, and unfortunately, that is what caused her to have the situation unfold. But do you think that you're going to see more cases like this that maybe just put out there, how can I say, intentionally from people? Like, prime example, somebody might get into a traffic stop and intentionally act up just to try and have the officer shoot them, hurt them, or whatever to get paid. Maybe even suicide by a cop, because they think, okay, if I die by the hands of the police, after I die, there would be a lawsuit and then my family would get the money. Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.